Alright, thanks for watching. So now, quick reminder again, if you didn't see the last video, the sale is still going on until Monday to purchase all the 33 DVDs, digital downloads that's available for $89.99. Original price is $300, $299.99. This will only be up until Monday. And yeah, I got a lot of emails from people wanting the sale to continue, as I said, so I'm going to keep it up until Monday for those of you who requested more time. But after Monday, that's it. It's going to go back to $300. So definitely $89.99 is a good deal. I appreciate the people who've been supporting. A lot of you have bought it and purchased. A lot of new people up here who want to catch up on the videos and everything like that. So definitely take advantage of it now while you can, because Monday's going to go back to normal. And yeah, I appreciate the support. But I want to get into this whole thing. A lot of people are upset that today's shows a whole unveiling of, Nefertiti and, Tut's mother. And the whole thing with that is, okay, one, we of course understand what it is. It's just more stuff to continue the separation, to keep the argument going. This is not the first unveiling of Nefertiti's statue or, her depiction. They have depicted her a couple times and revealed depictions of her a couple times. And, each time her skin gets lighter. And it's weird to see this image. And it's a spit in the face of African people and black people when they do stuff like this. And it's on purpose. It's on purpose that they do this. And it's to get us riled up and keep us really heated and in this whole combative mode against, Caucasians, against Europeans, or what have you. And it's just a simple thing of understanding your history, and understanding, what these people are trying to do, and the fact that they have been stealing our history for years. The simple fact that, one, we come out of slavery, we get incorporated into this school system by law, and we go through school not being taught about where we come from, our history, and everything we've been through before slavery. This is a tragedy in itself, to have people come from a different country. First of all, one, take our country, steal our land, and enslave us. And then, after hundreds of years of enslavement and forgetting where we come from and everything that we've known, destroyed and lost and gone forever. Language is gone forever. So many things that we'll never even know existed that was very important to us as a people. And to go into these school systems and get taught about their, ancestors and forefathers and the people who enslaved us. And then later, in our generation, getting taught about black history, the struggle of the black man, and how, the only heroes we have to look up to is Dr. King and Malcolm X and, people like that. So we already had for a long time our history, been covered up. And thankfully, through social media and through people having the opportunity to go to these countries and do actual research and come back and write about it. Thankfully, because of these people, we have been able to see over the years, what the true history of us is, where we came from, what we did before slavery. Now, of course, this is important for us to know because we need to understand what we really were and what we really did before slavery, and not to be sitting around believing that all we was slaves and savages in Africa, and we had no kind of sophistication, no kind of education, no kind of science, no kind of structure in Africa before slavery. And of course, we have been stunned to see the truth. Now, the crazy part about it is you have many European historians who wrote about the fact that, one, the Greeks, the Romans, Europeans, white people came into Africa to learn from the Africans. It's not just in Egypt. It wasn't just Kemet. It was Northern Africa. The people who was learned, they called Moors, as I touched on. And, of course, that was changed and diverted to the Islamic Moors, who joined with the Muslims and will later conquer with them. But for the most part, they knew and they wrote about the intelligence of African people, how we already knew about astrology, math, science, and how we taught it to them, how they came into Libya, how they came into Spain when the Africans was ruling in Spain, how they came into Morocco and all of Northern Africa to basically learn from the Africans and be taught in the ways of learned people who had figured out, you know, so many amazing things about the agriculture and farming and science and what have you. And we talked, and they themselves admit, which makes this, you know, even more, you know, crazy, and it points out how obviously blatant they want to be to try to steal our history. When you have the historians and you have the Romans themselves and the Greeks themselves clearly say the Egyptians were black, and they learned from them. Now, I did a video a while back, it's a DVD I believe it was, where I talked about the Axum Empire in Ethiopia and about how the Romans came in there and basically stole artifacts and stole some of the obelisks in Ethiopia and took some of it back to Rome, and you had the obelisk on display there, and eventually you had some activists fight to bring the obelisk back. And I talked about the whole war between the Ethiopians and the Romans with Haile Selassie, and how, you know, for years, we all know this, they've been coming into Kemet, stealing artifacts. We have monuments, Egyptian monuments all over the world in different places, stolen by the Europeans. And we have so many things that they have taken from African civilizations that you find in many different museums and many different European countries throughout the world. So, you know, a lot of people are having a hard time understanding, white folks, why we are upset about the Today Show unveiling of this pale-faced European-looking Nefertiti. And I read a lot of the comments, and you know, most of the white people, for the most part, you know, are agreeing with us and saying, yeah, well, of course she wasn't that color, and that you have other people saying, well, you know, we don't get offended when we see Black Jesus. You know, we don't get offended when we see Black this and Black that, whoever they name, because they don't really understand why we are offended and why we are upset, because they themselves have not had their history stolen, and they haven't been enslaved and been through the kind of, you know, turmoil and oppression that we are going through and have been, you know, experiencing, you know, for centuries. And it's crazy, you know, as soon as you turn around, there's always something, an attack on Black people, attack on African people. It's clear as day, and we keep seeing it over and over again. We can't even have a movie with Black in it because it offends them. So you have people do stuff like this for the Black Panther movie, and a lot of people are offended by that word Black because they believe Black is in complete opposition to white, and that's how a lot of white folks see it. So when you say Black history, you know, white people immediately get offended. When you're saying Black, it basically does not include them, so they feel left out and they get upset when you say something that's Black. A lot of them have been trained to be in opposition to that word, to feel negative when they hear that word. When white people are included in something, they feel left out and they act out. We have seen this so many times. And when we look at our culture and we see the fact that when we put out something as a people, they adopt it. They want to fit in. They want to take in our culture. It's something in them that wants to be a part of what we are doing. And this was the issue back even in the 50s, in the 60s during segregation, when you still had these Black entertainers putting out that music. And the music was so good. You know, James Brown and, you know, Ray Charles and them and all those Black entertainers from that time. The music was so great and it was so powerful that it attracted them to the music. And they didn't care about skin color during that moment. It wasn't an issue. They wanted to dance, they wanted to hear the music, and they came together even though, you know, they would separate us, you know, at that time. But it's the same with everything that we do, as we can see. There is this inclusion. If we say Black and put the Black staple on it, they feel, you know, like they're not included. It doesn't really, you know, fit them, or it doesn't really include them, and they can't be a part of it. And, you know, Black history is world history. It's not just Black history. It's the history of the world. It's the history of this country that everybody needs to know, not just Black folks. And just because we're speaking about it doesn't mean we're being negative or anti-white or negative to any white people, period. It's just we're talking about what happened. If something happened to you, you reserve the right to speak on it when you want to, no matter who's involved. No matter who's involved. If my parents or my family killed somebody in your family and you spoke on it, I'm not going to feel no type of way when you speak on it. I'm going to feel like, sorry, I should say. I ain't going to say feel no type of way, but I'm going to feel like bad for you guys. I won't be in opposition to you speaking, or I won't be offended with you speaking on some sort of tragedy that happened to you because of, my family or ancestors. It's a shame that it happened, and I would support the person, any way that I can to help them get through it. I wouldn't tell them to shut up and get over it. And this is what we're hearing. We're being told to shut up. I don't understand why you guys are mad. It's just a skin color. Because our history is being stolen. Now, I've been to Kemet multiple times. Just came back there. I was there in August. And of course, took a picture next to Tut statue. Clearly black. Everywhere you go where you see this man in Kemet. Because as I said before when I told you guys, there is no debate when you get there. Today's Show can talk all the stuff they want. They can bring on any scientist and say all this crap they want on TV because they control TV. They control the media. That's theirs. The people who trying to steal our history and who run this whole white supremacy system controls the media. So they can put this out there and press some buttons and get the whole race thing riled up again and get us mad, excited about the whole thing. But when you actually go there, it's clear as day. As I said, when we walked around there, first of all, they destabilized that country for a reason, to keep us from going there, because they understand knowledge has increased and it's increasing, and that black folks might want to go back to Kemet, go back to Africa and see what's going on. Yeah, when you go there, even all the depictions of Nefertiti, of Tut, Akhenaten, black. Their mummies, black. Clear as day, there's no denying it. The people at the Cairo Museum, the people who basically run all the guides and the people who's running the whole thing that's going on down there with the pyramids and all the temples and everything like that. All of the Arabs there, every black person you see, they say welcome home. They know clear as day what their history is and that they are invaders, and they are not shy about talking about it. Why else would they put our people on display and not their own? They have museums with our people in it. It's not their ancestors, and they do not say it's their ancestors because they know it's not. They call you Nubian. They call you Pharaoh when you come. They call the black women queens. And I took the picture with Amir and with a couple other people who, as soon as I seen them, welcome home, Pharaoh. And because they know. And when you go into the tombs, when you look at the depictions, when you go to the Cairo Museum, you see it. You see black statues. You don't see no statues that look like this. You see black faces, plain and simple. When you go to the gift shop and you buying stuff, it's black. This black from Kemet. It's a lot of money, but you can get these. You can get all kinds of other artifacts that my aunt up there that you see in the window is from Kemet. I got it from a friend that was selling it in America. And if you've seen my statues that I posted that I got from Kemet, that is back in Sweden, same thing. They are not selling statues that look like this. You don't see that because it's unrealistic and it's bullshit. We also, of course, have their own historians. You have Herodotus in 2.104 talking about the Egyptians being black in the writings of Herodotus many times. This is why some of the people called him crazy. He was a liar. He lies a lot because he said that we was black. Likened to the Ethiopians, to the Nubians, who are dark skinned, as everybody know, which Ethiopia means burnt faced. So it's clear, I don't want people, I'm saying this because I'm putting this out because I don't want people to get too riled up. It's okay to get, upset, of course. I would be. I definitely was when I seen it, which is why I posted on Instagram for those who follow. And of course, but understand what it is. It's them keeping the controversy going, keeping us at each other's throats, misdirection, When you know your history, which is why I put out these videos to try to get this information out there. When you know your history, you know what's going on, you know what they themselves speak about, what the history books are talking about, then this is not a problem. This is deception. This is them trying to get a big story and keep people arguing and separated because it's part of their agenda. Now, I talked about the whole sub-Saharan African thing and the, whole agenda of them trying to steal Northern Africa, which how all that plays into the whole Moors thing and what's going on with the Morocco and what happened with Spain and everything like that. And how when you go to Northern Africa, you see closer to the water, light-skinned people. And this is from when, of course, the Romans took over the area, which, it's stupid, because they put out their own history and we can see what happened. So you're telling me the people that they conquered in Northern Africa was white when they came in there and conquered it. So why is it, a big issue when we say that, no, Africa was black? So was the Europeans conquering themselves when they came into Northern Africa? No, it was obviously conquering African dark-skinned people. And that's what people was not getting. So when people say, you have these idiots who say, well, ancient Egypt was never black. What are you talking about? How is ancient Egypt never black when you go there and everything's black? It's Africa. How is the majority of the country, the entire country, completely black? Everywhere in Africa, the entire country is black. We're talking about before colonization. And then all of a sudden now, back then, it wasn't no black folks. Just this one little piece of land just happened to be white folks. When we go in there, we don't see no white folks at all. And the simple fact that melanoma, the sun will destroy y'all. There's no way in the world you will survive there, which is why you live in the north of Africa, close to the water, and the south of Africa, close to the water. Because if you live any further inland, you will get burned to a crisp. You know it. Melanoma will destroy y'all. It's killing over 200,000 of y'all a year. There's no way in the world you could rule in Kemet, in ancient Kemet, when the sun is at its hottest. There's no way. There's no way you would be dead, which is why they allowed the Arabs to take it, because they would rather the Arabs take over the country and, create doubt and cast doubt on people who are looking at the history than us Africans going in there and figuring out what was taken from us and what's really going on.